We have heard a lot about building walls lately, but when it comes to building a wall garden, make sure you develop a good plan before you start. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hygro Garden channel. Building a wall garden demands quite a bit of work. You want to get it right first time. The last thing you want is having to dismantle your frame and start all over again. Not only you need to draw a plan to ensure you get exactly what you want, but you also need to make sure you don't get carried away working hard and then forget to look at the plan. I had some idea of what I wanted to achieve with my first wall garden, so I made sure I prepared a basic drawing with some measurements. The first thing I wanted was to build a frame that would be high enough to block the view of the ugly fence next door. I knew this would demand more work, but I also knew that having to see that ugly fence every day after all the work that I've done would be even harder. One of the problems I found while I was building this high frame was that the post moved quite a bit at the top. This made it really hard to cut out sections of the post. This was not only hard, but it was quite unsafe as well. At that moment I thought I had no option but to cut out sections from the main post to be able to insert horizontal pieces of timber to complete the frame. I thought that was the only way the structure would end up strong enough for all the pots, soil and plants that I wanted to hang from the frame. Later on I realized that metal brackets were a much better option. I should have thought of that early on, but I didn't. Please consider metal brackets if you build your wall garden. The job will be much easier. A very important thing is to think carefully what you want to do with your frame. I wanted the frame to support some trees and also to experiment with pots and planters. If you only want to support some trees, the frame does not need to be that strong. But if you want to hang pots or planters with soil, and if you want to go very high, you need to ensure you build the structure very well. As I mentioned earlier, having a plan is only part of a successful project. We need to remember to follow the plan as well. I concentrated so much on leaving enough room to install 2 full sections of metal mesh on the frame that I forgot to check if I had enough room at the bottom of the frame to set up pots for my trees and tomato plants. When people say measure twice, cut once, I think they're totally right. If you want to build your own wall garden, think first what you want to achieve. Do you want to support trees only, or do you want to hang heavy pots and planters? You may want to block the view of something, so you may want to go high. But remember that you will also need to reach your plants later, so don't go too high. And don't forget to leave room at the bottom if you want to place some big pots for trees or climbing vegetables such as tomatoes and cucumbers. Remember that you may want to leave some room at the back of the wall garden. You may want to install an irrigation system, or you may want to access the fence for repairs. It is important to consider different methods to install the posts. Digging holes can be really hard in some areas. Later on, I will show you how I use some special metal spikes to support posts without having to dig holes. And don't try to cut out sections from the posts. Just use metal brackets, which are easy to install and can do the job equally well. I certainly made a few mistakes while building the frame for the wall garden, but I was satisfied with the job after I finished. In the next episode, I will show you how I installed the metal mesh to complete my first experimental vertical garden structure. See you then!